The space station, called Drifting Nebula, sat at the edge of nowhere. It was old. It was dirty. And it was the only place to get a drink for 3-star systems in any direction. Dohonk walked through the main corridor with heavy steps. His boots made dull sounds on the metal floor. He had been flying cargo for 3 weeks straight. 3 weeks of bad food, no sleep, and a ship that made strange noises every time he tried to rest. All he wanted now was one drink. Just one simple drink. Then he would find a place to sleep for 12 hours. The bar was called the Void's Edge. It was not a nice place. The lights were dim and yellow. The air smelled like smoke and something sweet that Dohong could not name. But it had alcohol, and that was enough thought. He pushed through the door and looked around. The bar was full tonight. He saw species from all over the galaxy. There were tall ones and short ones. Some had scales. Some had too many eyes. Some had no eyes at all. They all sat at tables or stood against walls, drinking and talking in languages Don did not understand. He found an empty spot at the main bar and sat down on a metal stool. The bartender came over. He was a Pelian, with gray wet skin and 6 small eyes arranged in a circle on his face. His name was Tavix, though Doan did not know this yet. "What do you want?" Tavix asked. His voice was flat and tired. "Rain spirit," Doan said. "Whatever you have." "Nothing fancy." Tavix nodded and turned away to pour the drink. Doan rubbed his face with both hands. He was 35 years old, but tonight he felt like 60. His back hurt. His eyes were dry. His hands had small cuts from fixing his ship's engine 2 days ago. He looked around the bar again while he waited. That was when he noticed the girl. She was human. Young, maybe 22 or 23. She sat alone at a small table near the back wall. She had short black hair and wore simple travel clothes. A bag sat at her feet. She was drinking something clear, probably just water. Her eyes moved around the room like a small animal watching for danger. Dohan knew that look. He had seen it many times in the outer systems. It was the look of someone traveling alone for the first time. Someone who knew they were far from help. Tavix put the drink in front of him. The glass was not clean, but Dohan did not care. He reached for it. Then the door opened again. The noise in the bar changed. It did not go silent, but it became quieter. Conversations became whispers. Eyes looked down at tables. Dohan felt the change before he saw the reason. 4 Volvani walked in. Dohan had seen Volvani before. They were big. Very big. The smallest one was almost 8 feet tall. They had green and brown scales, like lizards from old Earth. Each one had 4 arms, thick with muscle. Their faces were flat, with small yellow eyes and mouths full of sharp teeth. The leader was the biggest. He walked like he owned the place. Maybe he did in a way. The 4 Vavani walked straight to the bar. Patrons moved out of their way fast. One alien almost fell off his chair, trying to give them room. The leader stopped in front of Tavix. He looked down at the bartender with a smile that showed all his teeth. "Tavix," he said. His voice was deep and rough. "It is time for payment." Tavix did not argue. He did not ask questions. He just reached under the bar and pulled out a small bag of credits. He placed it on the counter. "All there," Tavix said. "Same as always." The leader picked up the bag and put it away without counting. He knew Tavix would not cheat him. Everyone knew what happened to people who cheated the Vorvani. Doan watched all of this from the corner of his eye. He did not turn his head. He did not react. This was not his business. He was just a cargo hauler who wanted a drink. He had learned long ago that getting involved in other people's problems was a good way to die in the outer systems. His drink was right there in front of him. He just had to pick it up and drink it. Then he could leave. But the leader was not leaving. He was looking around the bar now. His yellow eyes moved from table to table, like a hunter looking for prey. Then he stopped. He was looking at the girl, the young human woman sitting alone. The leader smiled again. He said something to his crew in their own language. They laughed. It was an ugly sound. Dahan's hand stayed on his glass. He did not pick it up. He watched the leader start walking toward the girl's table. The other three followed. The girl saw them coming. Her face went pale. She started to stand, but there was nowhere to go. The wall was behind her. The Vavani were in front. Every person in the bar looked away. Tavik suddenly became very interested in cleaning a glass. The other patrons studied their drinks like they contained the secrets of the universe. Dohan looked at his own drink. It was right there. He could finish it and leave. This was not his problem. The girl was a stranger. He did not know her name. He did not owe her anything. His hand tightened on the glass. The leader reached the girl's table. He stood over her, blocking everything. His shadow covered her completely. "Hello, little human," he said. "You look lonely." Dohan did not drink. He just sat there, holding his glass, watching and waiting to see what would happen next. The girl's name was Yuna. She was 23 years old. This was her first time traveling alone through the outer systems. She was an engineer, on her way to a new job at a mining station 2 jumps away. Her transport would arrive in 6 hours. She just had to wait. She had chosen this bar because it was close to the docking area. She had ordered water because she wanted to stay alert. She had picked a table near the wall because she thought it would be safe. She was wrong about everything. The Vavani leader stood over her table. His forearms hung at his sides. His yellow eyes looked at her like she was something to eat. "I said hello, little human," he repeated. "It is rude not to answer." Yuna swallowed. Her throat was very dry. "Hello," she said. Her voice came out small and weak. The leader smiled. "Good. My name is Greth. These are my friends." He waved one hand at the 3 other Vavani behind him. "We run this part of the station. We keep it safe. You understand?" Yuna nodded. She understood. She had heard about groups like this. They took money from businesses. They hurt people who did not pay. And they did whatever they wanted because no one could stop them. "That is good," Greth said. "Smart human. Now, I think you should buy us drinks. To show respect. You want to show respect, yes?" "Yes," Yuna said quickly. "Of course, I can pay." She reached for her bag with shaking hands. She pulled out her credit chip. "How much?" "I will pay." She held the chip out toward Greth. She hoped he would just take the money and leave. Greth looked at the chip. Then he laughed. The sound was loud and cold. "Money?" he said. No, I do not want your money. I want respect." He leaned closer. His breath smelled like rotting meat. "I want you to get the drinks yourself. And I want you to bring them to me on your knees." Yuna's heart stopped. She felt cold all over. "What?" she whispered. "You heard me, little human." Greth's smile grew wider. "Get on your knees. Crawl to the bar. Get our drinks. Crawl back. Then maybe we let you go." The bar was completely silent now. No one spoke. No one moved. Everyone was looking at their tables, their drinks, the floor. Anywhere but at Yuna. She felt tears in her eyes. She blinked them away. Crying would make this worse. "Please," she said. "I did not do anything wrong. Just let me pay, and I will leave." "You are wrong," Greth said. His voice was not friendly anymore. "You are human. In Vavani space, you breathe our air. You walk on our stations. That is wrong enough." One of the other Vavani, a slightly smaller one named Boral, stepped forward. He grabbed Yuna's arm and pulled her up from her chair. His grip was like metal. She cried out in pain. "The boss gave you an order," Borl said. "Kneel." He pushed down on her shoulder, forcing her toward the floor. Yuna tried to stay standing, but he was too strong. Her knees bent. She was going down. Then a voice spoke from the bar. "Hey." It was not loud. It was not angry. It was just a simple word, spoken in a calm and tired voice. But somehow, it cut through the silence like a blade. Everyone looked toward the bar. Du-hun was still sitting on his stool. His hand was still on his glass. He had not moved from his spot. "Let her go," he said. Greth turned slowly. He looked at Do-hun like he was seeing a bug on the floor. "What did you say?" "I said let her go." Do-hun's voice stayed calm. "She did not do anything to you. Just leave her alone." Greth released Yuna's table and walked toward the bar. His crew followed, though Borl kept his grip on Yuna's arm. Greth stopped a few feet from Do-hun. He was almost 2 feet taller. He had 4 arms to Do-hun's too. He had scales that could stop a knife. "You're human," Greth said. It was not a question. "Yes." "Do you know what happens to humans who talk to me like that?" "I can guess." Greth laughed again. Some of his crew laughed too. The sound echoed in the quiet bar. "You are either very brave or very stupid," Greth said. "There is no human military in this sector. No human police. No one to help you. You are soft. You are weak. You are prey." He leaned down toward Do-hun's face. "So I ask again, what did you say to me?" Do-hun finally let go of his glass. He had not taken a single sip. He stood up from his stool. He was not a big man. Average height. Average build. Nothing special about him at all. He looked up at Greth without any fear in his eyes. "I said let her go," Do-hun repeated. "And I will not ask again." Across the room, Yuna watched this happen. She did not know this man. She had never seen him before. But he was human, like her. And he was the only one in the whole bar who had said a word. Her eyes met his for just a moment. She did not ask for help. She did not beg. She just looked at him. One human looking at another. Do-hun looked back. Then he turned to face Greth again. "Well?" Do-hun said. "What is it going to be?" Greth's smile disappeared. His yellow eyes went cold. "Borl," he said. "Show this human what we do to prey." Borl let go of Yuna and walked toward Do-hun. He cracked his 4 sets of knuckles. Each sound was like breaking wood. Yuna fell back against the wall. Her arm was bruised where Borl had held her. She watched Borl move toward the human at the bar. She wanted to scream at him to run, to hide, to do anything but stand there. But Do-hun just waited. His face was calm. His hands hung loose at his sides. Borl reached out with one massive arm to grab him. And that was when everything changed. Borl's hand reached for Do-hun's throat. He moved with the confidence of someone who had done this 100 times before. Humans were easy targets, soft skin, weak bones. They broke like toys. His hand never touched Do-hun's throat. Do-hun moved. Not fast like in the movies. Not with fancy spins or jumps. He simply stepped to the side, grabbed Borl's arm with both hands, and twisted. The sound of breaking bone was loud in the quiet bar. It was a wet crack that made several patrons look away. Borl screamed. It was a high, terrible sound that did not match his size at all. His arm bent the wrong way at the elbow. White bone showed through green scales. Du-hun did not let go. He pulled the broken arm and used it to spin Borl around. Then he kicked the back of the Varvani's knee. Borl fell forward, crashing into a table. Everything happened in less than 3 seconds. The bar exploded into chaos. The 2 other Varvani crew members charged at Do-hun. They were fast for their size. Their forearms reached for him from different angles. Do-hun grabbed a drink glass from the bar and threw it. It hit the first one in the face, shattering against his eyes. The Volvani stumbled back, clawing at the glass in his scales. The second one was already on top of Dohan. He grabbed Dohan's shirt and lifted him off the ground like he weighed nothing. Dohan did not panic. He reached to his belt and pulled out a short metal tool. It was meant for fixing ship engines. He drove it into the soft part under the Volvani's arm, where the scales were thin. The alien dropped him with a roar of pain. Dohan hit the ground and rolled. He came up holding a bar stool. He swung it hard. The metal legs connected with the wounded Volvani's head. The alien fell and did not get back up. The one with glass in his eyes was still standing. He charged blind, swinging all four arms in wide circles. Dohan waited, then ducked under the swings. He kicked the alien's ankle. When the Volvani bent forward, Dohan brought the stool down on the back of his head. 2 down. Boro was still on the floor, holding his broken arm and screaming. That left Greth. The leader had not moved during all of this. He had watched his crew fall with an expression that slowly changed from amusement to confusion to rage. "You," Greth said. His voice was low and dangerous. "You are dead." He came at Dohan like a storm. 4 arms swinging, teeth showing, yellow eyes burning with hate. Dohan tried to dodge, but Greth was faster than his crew. A fist caught Dohan in the chest and sent him flying back into the bar. Bottles fell and shattered. Dohan felt something crack in his ribs. He tried to stand. Greth was already there. A kick to his side rolled him across the floor. Another kick lifted him into the air briefly before he crashed down on a broken table. Dohan tasted blood. His vision was getting dark at the edges. His ribs screamed with every breath. Greth walked toward him slowly now. He was enjoying this. "You fight well for a human," Greth admitted. "But it does not matter. You cannot win. I am stronger. I am faster. I am better." He reached down and grabbed Dohan by the throat, lifting him off the ground. "Any last words?" Dohan could barely breathe. Black spots danced in his eyes. He was dying. He knew it, but something in him refused to accept it. He was human. Humans did not know how to quit. They did not know how to give up. For thousands of years, his ancestors had survived not by being the strongest or the fastest. They had survived by being the ones who kept going when everything else stopped. Dohan reached to his belt with one weak hand. His fingers found the cargo cable he always carried. It was thin but strong, used to tie down heavy loads. He pulled it out and looped it around Greth's neck. Then he twisted his body, using his own weight to tighten the cable. He wrapped his legs around Greth's arm so the alien could not throw him off. Greth's eyes went wide. He let go of Dohan's throat to grab at the cable. But it was too thin, too tight. His claws could not get under it. Dohan pulled tighter. His arms shook with the effort. His broken ribs sent fire through his body. He did not care. He just kept pulling. Greth stumbled. He crashed into the bar. He tried to slam Dohan against the wall. Dohan held on. The alien's movements became slower. His forearms dropped. His yellow eyes started to close. Dohan did not let go. Not when Greth fell to his knees. Not when the big alien hit the floor face first. Not until he was completely sure. Finally, Greth stopped moving. Dohan released the cable and rolled off onto the floor. He lay on his back, staring at the ceiling. His whole body was pain. Blood dripped from cuts on his face and hands. At least 2 of his ribs were broken. Maybe more. But he was alive. The bar was completely silent. Every single person stared at the human lying on the floor, surrounded by 4 unconscious. Vorvani. Dohan closed his eyes for a moment. He wanted to sleep for a year, but he was not done yet. He forced himself to sit up. Then, slowly and painfully, he stood. His legs shook but held him. He looked around the bar. broken tables, shattered glasses. 4 of the most feared mercenaries in the sector lying on the ground. Then he looked at Yuna. She was still against the wall, staring at him with wide eyes and an open mouth. Daohun limped toward her. Every step hurt. He did not care. "You okay?" he asked. She did not answer. She just kept staring. Daohun understood. He probably looked like a monster right now, covered in blood and barely standing. "Hey," he said, softer this time. "Are you hurt?" Yuna finally blinked. She looked down at her arm, at the bruise from Boral's grip. "I am okay," she whispered. "I think I'm okay." Daohun nodded. "Good. We should leave. Now." He turned toward the door. He did not look at anyone else. He did not wait to see if she followed. She did. They walked through the station corridors in silence. Daohun moved slowly, one hand against the wall for support. Every breath sent sharp pain through his chest. Yuna walked beside him, not touching him but staying close. The station was busy around them. Aliens of many species walked past, going about their business. Some looked at the bloody human and quickly looked away. Others stopped to stare, but said nothing. "There is a medical station 2 levels up," Yuna said quietly. "You need help." "No," Daohun said. "Medical stations keep records. The Vavani will look there first." Yuna was quiet for a moment. Then she nodded. "Okay, what do we do?" Daohun thought about this. His head was fuzzy from the pain. Thinking was hard. "When does your transport leave?" he asked. 6 hours. "Maybe 5 now. Where's the dock?" Section 9. The other side of the station. Daohun started walking in that direction. "Then we go there. You get on your transport. You leave. You forget this ever happened." Yuna walked faster to keep up with him. "What about you? Where will you go?" "I have a ship. Old cargo hauler. I will be gone before anyone comes looking." They walked through a crowded market area. The smells of strange foods filled the air. Vendors called out in different languages, selling things Daohun could not name. No one paid attention to them here. They were just 2 more faces in the crowd. "Why did you do it?" Yuna asked suddenly. Daohun did not answer right away. He focused on putting one foot in front of the other. "I do not know," he finally said. "It was the truth. You could have died. Yes, you do not know me. You owe me nothing. I know." Yuna shook her head. "That does not make sense." Daohun stopped walking. He leaned against a support pillar and took a few painful breaths. "You are right," he said. "It does not make sense. I have been in the outer systems for 15 years. I have seen things like that before. Many times. I have looked away every time." He paused. "I do not know why tonight was different." Yuna looked at him. Her eyes were serious. "I am glad it was different." Daohun almost smiled. Almost. "Me too, probably." They started walking again. A voice called out from behind them. "Human, wait." Daohun tensed. His hand moved toward his belt, where his tools were. Then he saw who was speaking. It was an old alien. Very old. His species was called Maluri. He had thin gray skin that hung loose on his bones. His eyes were large and black, like deep pools. He walked with a cane made of some dark wood. "Peace," the old Maluri said. He held up one hand to show he was not a threat. "I mean no harm. I only wish to speak." Daohun relaxed slightly but stayed alert. "Speak then." The Maluri walked closer. His name was Keth, though they did not know this. He had been in the bar. He had seen everything. "I have traveled the stars for 200 cycles," Keth said. His voice was thin and dry, like wind through dead leaves. "I have seen many species. Strong ones, proud ones, ancient ones who ruled whole galaxies. He looked at Dohan with those deep black eyes. But humans are different. Different how? Yuna asked. Q smiled. It was a strange expression on his alien face. Other species fight to win, he said. They count their chances. They measure their strength against their enemy. If they cannot win, they run or surrender. It is logical. It is smart. He pointed his cane at Dohan. But this one did not do that. He saw 4 Volvani warriors. He knew he could not win. And he fought anyway. Dohan said nothing. Why? Keth asked. Tell me. I wish to understand. Dohan thought about the question. Why had he done it? He was not a soldier. He was not strong or trained in fighting. He was just a cargo hauler with a tired body and too many years in space. I do not know, he said again. I just could not let it happen. Not this time. Keth nodded slowly, like this answer meant something to him. That is what makes humans dangerous, the old alien said. You do not fight to win. You fight because you cannot stop. Because giving up is not in your nature. He turned to look at Yuna. Remember this, young one. Your people are new to the stars. Many species look at you and see prey. They see soft skin and weak bodies. They do not understand. Understand what? Yuna asked. Q. Heath started to walk away. But he turned back one more time. They do not understand that losing is not the same as stopping. That death is just another enemy to beat. They will learn. He looked at Dawn. Tonight, one of them learned. Then he was gone, disappearing into the crowd. Duhan and Yuna stood in silence for a moment. That was strange, Yuna said. Yes, Dawn agreed. Come on, we need to keep moving. They walked for another hour. Dawan's condition got worse. He was sweating now, and his skin was pale. But he kept moving. Finally, they reached Section 9. The docking area was ahead. Yuna's transport was visible through a large window. It was a passenger ship, clean and bright compared to the rest of the station. This is it, Yuna said. She turned to face Dawn. Thank you. For everything. Dawn nodded. Stay safe. Travel with others from now on. The outer systems are not kind to people alone. I will remember. She paused. Will you be okay? I will be fine. I always am. Yuna did not look like she believed him. But she did not argue. What is your name? She asked. You never told me. Doan. She smiled. It was small and tired, but real. I am Yuna, and I will not forget you, Doan. She turned and walked toward the transport dock. At the entrance, she looked back one more time. Then she went inside. Dawn watched until she was gone. Then he turned and started the long walk back to his own ship. His ribs hurt. His head hurt. Everything hurt, but somewhere inside something felt lighter than it had in years. Far from the drifting nebula station, a Vorvani warship moved through dark space. It was massive, built for war and fear. Inside, Warlord Desk sat on a throne made of metal and bone. A messenger stood before him, trembling. Say it again, Desk commanded. His voice was cold like ice. The messenger swallowed. Greth and his crew were defeated, my lord. At the drifting nebula station. All 4 of them. By how many? The messenger did not want to answer. But he had no choice. 1, my lord. 1 human. Desk did not move. He did not blink. For a long moment, he was completely still. Then he stood. His throne room fell silent. Every Volvani warrior watched their leader. 1 human, Desk repeated. Beat 4 of my warriors, including Greth, who has killed 30 enemies in personal combat. Yes, my lord. How is this possible? An advisor stepped forward. His name was Varric, and he was old for a Volvani. He had studied many species over his long life. "My lord, if I may speak," Varric said carefully. Desk waved one hand. "Speak." "Humans are unusual," Varric began. "When we first made contact with them 80 years ago, we thought they were weak. They have soft skin, fragile bones. They cannot see in the dark. They cannot breathe in many atmospheres. They should not have survived as a species. But they did," Desk said. "Yes, they did." Varric moved closer. "Do you know how, my lord?" "Tell me." "Humans evolved on a dangerous world. Larger predators hunted them. Disease killed them. The climate tried to destroy them again and again. They should have died out 1,000 times." Varric paused. "But they have a strange ability. They do not give up, ever." Desk made a sound of disgust. "Every species fights to survive." "No, my lord. Other species fight until it is not worth fighting anymore. They calculate. They retreat when the odds are bad. It is logical." Varric shook his head. "Humans do not do this. They have a saying, if you are going through hell, keep going. They will fight when they cannot win. They will get up when they should stay down. They will keep coming even when their bodies are broken." "That is foolish," Desk said. "That is how prey thinks." "Perhaps," Varric agreed. "But consider this, my lord. Humans were not the apex predators on their world. They were not the strongest or fastest. They survived by hunting differently. They would chase prey for days. Not hours. Days. The prey would run, and the humans would follow. The prey would rest and wake up to find the humans still coming. Eventually, the prey would collapse from exhaustion, and the humans would be there, still walking, still coming." Desk was quiet. "They call it persistence hunting," Varric continued. "And they did not just use it on animals. They used it on each other. For their entire history, humans have fought wars. Brutal, terrible wars that lasted years. They do not surrender easily. They do not stop when they are hurt. They keep fighting until they win or until there is nothing left of them to fight." "One human," Desk said slowly, "against 4 warriors. Greth underestimated him. They all did. They saw a soft body and assumed it meant a soft spirit." Varric spread his hands. "They were wrong." Desk sat back down on his throne. He was thinking now, not angry. "What do you suggest?" he asked. "Leave the human alone, my lord." This surprised everyone in the room. Desk raised one eyebrow. "Explain." "If you hunt him, he will fight. If he fights, he will hurt more of your warriors. Even if you kill him, others will hear the story. The story of a human who destroyed a Volvani crew alone, who fought until the end." Varric's voice was serious. "Stories are dangerous, my lord. Stories spread. And humans have another saying that applies here." "What saying?" "They say, do not poke the bear. It means do not anger something that will make you regret it." Varric looked at his lord. "Humans are the bear, my lord. One human caused this much damage. There are billions of them." Desk considered this for a long time. "For now," he finally said, "we will watch. Nothing more." Varric bowed. "A wise decision, my lord." Back on the station, Dohan had a different bar. A smaller one, quieter. No Varvani. No trouble. He sat in a corner booth with bandages wrapped around his ribs. A local doctor had helped him for a price. He would live. He would heal. He would fly again in a few days. A drink sat in front of him. The same grain spirit he had ordered hours ago. He picked up the glass and looked at it for a moment. Thought so much had happened since his last attempt to drink this. He thought about Yuna, about her smile when she said goodbye, about the old Mallory's strange words, About 4 Volvani warriors lying on a bar floor. He had not wanted any of it. He had just wanted a simple drink after a long haul. But that was not how life worked. Not out here. Not anywhere, really. Sometimes you just wanted to be left alone. And sometimes the universe had other plans. A station security officer walked into the bar. She was Aurelian, with blue skin and silver eyes. Her name was Fen. She had been looking for him. She sat down across from him without asking permission. "You are the human from the void's edge," she said. It was not a question. Dohan did not answer. "Relax," Fen said. "I am not here to arrest you. I just want to know what happened." Dohan looked at her for a long moment. Then he spoke. "They grabbed a girl. I asked them to stop. They did not stop." Fen waited for more. "There was no more. That is it?" she asked. "That is it." Fen was quiet for a moment. Then she nodded slowly. "Self-defense. That is what my report will say." She stood up. "But be careful, human." The Volvani did not forget easily. "You might want to leave this sector for a while." "I was planning to," Dohan said. Fen walked to the door. But she stopped and looked back. "For what it is worth," she said, "I am glad someone finally stood up to them. Even if it was just a cargo hauler with a death wish." Then she was gone. Dohan sat alone in the quiet bar. The drink was still in his hand. He had been holding it for what felt like forever. He raised the glass to his lips. The grain spirit burned going down. It was cheap and harsh and exactly what he needed. He finished the drink in one long swallow. It tasted better than anything he had drunk in years. Maybe because he had earned it. Maybe because he was still alive to taste it. Or maybe because, for the first time in a long time, he felt like himself again. Outside the station, stars burned in the endless dark. Somewhere out there, a young woman named Yuno was traveling to a new life. Somewhere, a warlord was learning that humans were not prey. Somewhere, stories were being told about what happened tonight. Dohan did not know any of this. He did not care about stories or warlords or ripples in the galaxy. He was just a man who had wanted a drink. He ordered another one.